Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source. We have 3 shows packed into one today. In 60 minutes, we're going to give you a scouting report on the Mercer game. You want to get a pad and paper for that. Mark Pancratz is going to run through Mercer the same way he used to prepare scouting reports for the coaches at UT. That's going to be interesting for you. We're also going to talk about the Bruce Pearl situation. It was the biggest story of the week, and you still have a chunk of the fan base that is in love with the guy. We'll discuss that. Cuonzo Martin has gone from the hot seat to possibly the Sweet 16. What does it mean for his future? We'll talk about all those things in this show, which gets underway now in a segment brought to you by our friends at NovaCopy. There are a lot of companies out there who sell copiers. That's all they do, sell copiers. Folks at NovaCopy call that slinging boxes. And that is not what the folks at NovaCopy do. Yes, they do sell copiers, but they focus on workflow solutions for your entire company, solutions that increase your company's efficiency. Call NovaCopy this week to discuss your business needs with your area's solutions specialist. NovaCopy, I've gotten to know these guys, Benny Malakote and that crew out there. I think you'll be very impressed. If you're a business owner, big or small, they can help you get your business in line in terms of workflow solutions and cost efficiency. NovaCopy. All right. I want to welcome in Jimmy Hyams, who is with Sports Talk on 99.1 and 990. Mark Pancratz, former aide under Bruce Pearl and under Cuonzo Martin. Bob Hodge, freelance contributor to the Knoxville News Sentinel. Chuck Cavaleras, freelance contributor to The World.
Thank you.
All right. Tennessee beat Iowa in overtime, then blew out UMass on Friday. They've won 7 of their last 8 games, which, think about that. Think about all that coming off that Texas A&M loss. Remarkable. When I said Cuonzo Martin had a 50-1 shot of returning. Their only loss in that stretch was to number 1 Florida in a good game. Today they face Mercer at 6:10 p.m. for the right to go to the Sweet 16 in Indianapolis and face number 2 seed Michigan. Thoughts on the Vols turnaround and tournament run so far? Jump ball.
I will go a whole lot of it with Jerron Mayman and Josh Richardson. But I'm also just going to go a lot with this team does seem to be more energetic than it was before. That is a very sort of broad brush that I painted with. But they have played with a lot of intensity ever since they lost to Texas A&M, which at that point I wrote them off as dead, done, buried, move on.
Yeah, they've been up and down all year. I mean, who saw the turnaround?
Yeah, so I think you got those 2 guys playing better. And I think you just got overall as a team, they are playing with a lot more intensity.
I think Jarnell Stokes. It's Jarnell Stokes because, one, he's become that elite player that now is freeing up opportunities for Jerron Mayman and for Josh Richardson. And yes, they're making their shots, but Jarnell is demanding double teams. He's making good decisions out. And on the defensive end, which we'll talk about later, he's bringing that energy on the defensive end because teams were putting him in ball screens and he wasn't playing any defense and he was a liability. And so his big involvement is the difference.
I think a sense of urgency has been a part of it, which kind of leads to what Bob's saying. That brings you energy. I also think that finally McCray has acquiesced a little bit to, okay, we are going to go through Stokes. I think there's several things you can count on right now. Tennessee's defense, Richardson's defense, Stokes being productive, and McCray's going to shoot a lot. Those are the 4 things you can kind of count on right now. But I think that that's a part of it. And I think they got tired of hearing people bash their coach, who they really like. And I think there was a little bit of playing for him. Now, you could ask, why wasn't that there earlier? I get that, but it is there right now.
And I go back to the end of the first half against Iowa when, you're down 12 at one point in that game and you came back at the end of the first half and you carried it over. You hit 25 of 30 free throws. Who would have thought Tennessee would have hit 25 of 30 free throws, including, 10 of 11 in overtime? So that's where it started, and you had to get past that game. And then you had a great matchup with the UMass team that shouldn't have been a number 6 seed, but was just perfect for what we're going to be able to bring to them.
Well, and get back to Mark's point about Stokes. Talk about Mayman getting better towards the end of the season and all this other stuff. Stokes started looking better in January than I think he ever looked at Tennessee. Back in December, I did not think he had improved all that much from when he got here. Mm-hmm. And his improvement since then has been so dramatic. I don't understand exactly what it was that turned him around. But, yeah, I think Stokes is such a huge part of it. But he's a different player than he was just 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. I think some of it started with the Kentucky game. And I think he has built off of that. But he has been consistently good, and he's playing with more confidence. Heck, he knocked down a bunch of free throws the other day, too. He's been a beast out there.
And I'll say this. I think you're right that Stokes has aided Mayman. There's no question. He's given him more opportunities. But Mayman looks like the rust is off. I mean, you not only have to come back from the knee injury, and you see that in football all the time, the next year back, if it's a receiver, he drops passes. It's not just getting over the knee injury, it's knocking off the rust from not playing for a year. Right now, I think you're seeing a Jerron Maimon that if he had started the season this way, I think a lot of this Conzo Martin talk would be moot. I don't think you'd have heard it because I think this team would have been a lot better if Maimon had been able to perform at this level in November and in December, or certainly in January, February.
Well, he would have been worth at least 2 more wins, and then you would have had an easier discussion as far as the NCAA tournament and a higher seed.
Well, and you see, last year they would have met expectations. Last year, you wouldn't even be in that now because you would have been. You could have been in the tournament even last year.
Well, there you go. I mean, so for Conzo Martin, you finished second with the team. What was picked 9th or 10th in the league.
Yeah.
Then the next year, Maimon gets hurt. Who knows where they benefited playing like this? And now this year, if he's healthy. You know, people. There's a crew out there that don't want any excuses made for Conzo Martin because they're off the Conzo Martin bandwagon or never got on it. Really, unfairly, they never even got on it. But the reality is, the Maimon injury has impacted the last 2 years in a pretty big way. But you're starting to see him play as he did, and as most of us expected him to play this year when he came back. Guys, Mercer is absolutely nothing to sneeze at. Anybody that's going ahead and penciling Tennessee into the Sweet 16, go ask Mike Krzyzewski about Mercer. Let me show you some facts and figures here. First, just a reminder, Tennessee, when you're watching today, hope they score 71 because Tennessee is now 18-0 on the year when they score 71 or more. Just 4-12 when they score fewer than 70. Tennessee 13-3 when allowing 64 or less. They're now 9-9 in the overall when allowing 65 or more, and that's happened in both the tournament games so far. So getting a little better on the 65 or more, but 13-3 when they allow less than 64. There have only been 16, and I had to rework that graphic this morning because Dayton became number 16. Only 16 number 11 seeds have ever reached the Sweet 16. Now, that goes back to 85 when they expanded the tournament.
Wow.
Basically one every couple of years. So it's not going to be easy. However, in history, number 11 seeds are 3-0 when they faced number 14 seeds. Finally, Florida Gulf Coast of the Atlantic Sun Conference made the Sweet 16 last year, beat Georgetown, beat San Diego State. We mentioned that because the Atlantic Sun is home to Mercer, a team that also knocked Tennessee out of the NIT last year. And they knocked Duke out of the first round. And here's what Coach Krzyzewski went into their locker room afterwards and said, you guys have a hell of a basketball team. I love the game, and you guys play the game really, really well, and your coach coaches it well. If we had to be beaten, I'm glad we got beaten by a hell of a basketball team, so good luck to you. In other words, if Mike Krzyzewski has that kind of respect for Mercer, a senior-laden team, it should give Tennessee fans pause before they sit there and go, yeah, Michigan's next. We'll discuss all that. But coming back on the next segment of the Sports Source, Conzo Martin was on the hot seat a week ago today. Where is he now? Come on back on the Sports Source.